Hey y'all, how y'all doing? All right, so I did not want the day to end without me coming to y'all. It's night here. It's real late. But um I dedicated myself to these 30 days. And so I'm definitely going to get the material out one way or the other. Um yeah, that's all I got to say. This is day 2. And let's get into it. So, I was debating on what I was going to touch on next. And because I did spirituality in day 1, I figured that the best thing for me to do, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I actually planned on doing something totally different. But the way that life works is I decided to go ahead and go into religion and what I want to do. So, pause, because sometimes I talk too fast. This video is going to be just a basic definition of religion and a introduction to it, because what I may do tomorrow or the next day or the next, I got 30 days, so we'll see how it goes. But what I may do is I may start tying in and being able to compare things and really get in depth and have a holistic conversation with you. So I want to be able to just kind of put the basics out there as a walkthrough before I start getting really in depth. So day 1 was spirituality. Day 2 now is religion. So we are, and I'm gonna be looking down a little bit, y'all. So that's what I do because I got my handy dandy notebook. So I got my notes, y'all, and I want to make sure that I don't veer off too far, because I'll take y'all on a whirlwind. I realize that sometimes. Just stick with me. All right, so remember yesterday when we started discussing, or right before we started discussing spirituality, I told you that as a teacher, the two basic things, the two main things that I introduce, especially teaching middle school and high school, um, I introduce at the very beginning is explicit and implicit information, or to make an inference. So the explicit is word for word. So a lot of what you're going to receive today is just explicit information. Um, I may explain a little bit or um, just reference a couple things, but for the most part, I'm not. I'm just going to give you the bare minimum, okay? But you need this, you guys. Do not skip over this, because if you do, when we get to going and I get to doing some connections, you're not going to get the full concept and the full understanding if you skip the basics. I mean, but it's your business. Do what you do. All right, so I'm gonna give you guys definitions, right? Um, the definition of religion. It says it is the belief in the worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a personal god or gods. The second definition for it, it says a particular system of faith and worship. Boom. So for me, the things to take away, right, from your definition, especially from the first definition, is that it's the worship of supernatural. So supernatural can mean a lot of things. I may go into detail in another video. If you need me to, please, in the comments below, let me know that that's something that you want to hear. But I want to kind of stay as close to being on topic as possible. But just understand, religion is the worship of supernatural, right? And it is the worship of God or gods, plural. All right. So when they talked about worship, you also need to understand that is the commitment or the devotion or observance. So the commitment being, this is my own thoughts here. I did not go look these definitions up. Typically I do, but I'm giving you guys so much that's straight from the dictionaries, and what I used was dictionary.com. I use encyclopedia.com, history.com, Ethmology online dictionary.com. I think those are, for the most part, the references. I do want to list that out there. So if you need to look it up, you can grab a dictionary or look it up online. All right. So when we talk about commitment, this is your ability to give yourself to something else. My words, paraphrasing, didn't look it up, but you can always do that on your own time. When you talk about your devotion, is your of course your dedication to something, and your observance, meaning what you do. Usually that goes along with traditions, right? Something that is seen as maybe to watch, to meditate, to pertain yourself to. So of course, again, this is dealing with just the basic definition of religion. So then when we go into the etymology of it, again, etymology is the history of a word, starting from its original context all the way through. Usually most English words are going to be based out of Latin and Greek. Um, there are some that vary, but those are some of the more original language. So you will have Latin, you'll have Greek, sometimes you'll have Hebrew. Um, I want to give you two more, but I think for the most part, especially when in reference to, um, I'm gonna throw in Egypt hieroglyphics, just because I was about to go on a tangent, y'all. I be stopping myself. I'm doing good. So let's get back to it. So when we talk about the etymology, so religion came from the word religare, which means to bind, or religio, I think is how you pronounce it. It's religio, which is the obligation, the bond, or the reverence of something. So that is where those words come from. In the Middle East, it was, or Middle English, not Middle East as the location, but Middle English meaning not quite Old English, not quite what we have today. But Middle English, it says it is life under the monastery vow. Um, and so this is what you would have your monks, your nuns, and any other religious vows that would take place. All of these things were categorized under religion. So I was on ethmology.com just to give you guys a little bit more. I'm going to read it again. Everything here is just explicit information to give you some foundations for what I will be talking on later. Excuse me, so sorry. So religion is the respect for what is sacred, reverence for the gods. It has to deal with the quality of wishing to do one's work or duty well and thorough. It is the sense of what's right or what is obligations. It also deals with the fear of gods, a divine service, religious observation, which is what we kind of talked about, or observances, right? So if you are wondering a little bit more about that, you could think about your holidays. Whenever the bank is closed for like a religious holiday, they tell you it's an observance of that. So things just shut down to make sure that you are in full reverence and full commune with whatever it may be. So that would be like Thanksgiving or Christmas holidays, which a lot of these things were pagan based religions, and I'll get into that as well on sometime this week, hopefully. If not, if you do not see it, please comment in the comments, send me a reminder, because as I told you, I be thinking about a lot of stuff and I just want to make sure I get it all to you. All right, so the last piece, it says it's a religion, a faith, a mode of worship, a cult. And when I say cult, it's CULT, not occult, which is OCCULT. It's two different things. That is something else that I need to make sure I note for a video, because I want you guys to really understand um, the words and how they sound alike, but they have separate meanings. which is a part of one of my other 30 days that I'm going to talk about, which is part of language arts. Um, okay, so it talks about the sanctity and the holiness of something. So the word religion, if you break it up, right, the first piece, the prefix is re, which means again. The suffix is ligier, is the original base for it, which means to read. So to read again. So religion is to read again. Religion deals with your obligations, your bond between humans and the gods. And then in English, it is a particular system of faith in the worship of a divine being or beings. And it deals with a higher unseen power. So if you are asking yourself about religion, what is religion? And you guys see that you go to a church, like they say, oh, well, I'm a Christian and I go to First Primitive Baptist, or I go to um, New Mount Zion, or I go to, those are just a couple of black ones. I go to Pentecostal, or I go to um, I don't know, whatever it is that you want to say. There's so many out there. I have to tell you guys, there's 4,300 religions in the world. 4,300 religions in the world. So that means that there are 4,300 ways to be in servitude or to be in observation, or what is the word? Observance, right? To a god or gods. And of those 4,300 religions, you have the 12 major religions. I'm not going to name all of them, but what I will do is I will hint to a couple I had pulled up here, because those are the ones that I think I have seen the most in my studies, that I will probably reference most of these at some point or another. Um, so let's just name a few, right? Number one is Christianity, which according to the registry.com, it has over 2.1 billion individuals who consider themselves to be Christian. Then there's Islam, which is 1.3 billion individuals. And then you have the non-religious, which would be like it says secular, agnostic, atheist. They're all grouped together, dealing or adding up to about 1.1 billion. And then after that, you have your Hinduism, your Chinese traditional religions, Buddhism, um, primal indigenous religions. So when I talk about that, I think we're going to talk about a lot of your, I don't really want to call it that either. We're kind of going to just talk about those spaces, those places and individuals who worship the land, right? Who believe that their ancestors are kind of a part of them and a part of the environment, what is around them, and we're not going to get into too many details because we're just keeping it basic. Um, I'm going to talk about some African traditions in the diaspora. Um, Judaism, I may do that as well. I don't think I'm talking about that. So for the most part, those are the few that those are the few out of the top 20 that I may talk about and focus on. There are some others that I will bring up, but I will let you know what I'm referencing. I will make sure I provide the text for you. I will start referencing some books. So if there's something that I think that you could use as a reference on your shelf, right? Because some books you don't necessarily have to read the whole thing, You do just look at them for reference points. You look at what they use as a reference. Um, I'm going to provide that to you as well. If not, as I'm doing it, it'll be in a separate video. Again, if there's anything that I do or do not mention, or I say I will do and I don't, please just comment below and let me know. Or you can go back to the front, the thumbnail, look at my social media platforms. Go over, oh, definitely Instagram. Go over to Instagram, follow me, because that's what we do. But go over to Instagram, follow me, TikTok, any of the other social medias that's there, Facebook. But if you want to write me, I would say Instagram. I probably will respond a little bit quicker to that. But always, always, always know that you can comment below. I will be looking at those comments and I will try to get back with you as soon as possible. Again, if there's something that you do not like, do not come at me and be rude. I'm not a rude individual. I do not do negative energy. Low vibrational individuals. I'm not here for it. I'm here to teach. And if you do not like something I say, move on. It is okay. Trust me. But again, if you like something particular that you want to hear from me, just let me know. Right now, with these upcoming 30 days, I just want to get some basics out of the way, so that when I do get into a point where I am talking and teaching and I go down these long tangents that I know I can have, you have some reference point to come back to and to watch these videos and learn just a tad bit more and understand why it is that I'm saying what I'm saying, not just to try to attack me because you don't like what I'm saying. Um, Again, like I said, I'm always try to drop the explicit information out, bringing some implicit or make some inferences here and there. But that was it for tonight, you guys. I just wanted to go over the basics of religion. The next one, if not the next one, sometime in the upcoming first 10 days, I do want to go through and do some comparisons of spirituality and religion. So I needed you to have those definitions and understand exactly where I'm pulling my concepts from. So I love you guys. I love you. I love you. So y'all have a good night, a good morning, a good afternoon, whatever it is when you're watching. Have a good one. Always be you. I love you. Be blessed.